Yeah, baby, why don't you go ask us questions?
All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the 2-Point Conversion NFL DFS podcast, your Week 10 edition. It's going to be a fun one. I can already tell. I can feel it in the air. This is going to be a fun one. We got 14 games this week, 11 games on Sunday, which doesn't seem like we've had that kind of volume in a while. So this could be a fun one. Good pricing all over the place. You can find me on Twitter at BDentric, and I am joined by my two comrades, as always, Bucks. You can find him on Twitter at BPSnow11. Bucks, how we doing?
Doing great, Bubba, as usual. Appreciate
it. Good. And James, you can find him on Twitter at Pater_DFS. James, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Just sitting here ready to record. Got back from the gym a little while ago, and feeling good. Ready to do it.
Sweet. This is going to be a good one. I'll do the quick wraparound. You can just say pass if you want. Any good stories from the DFS week last week, or was it another tilting NFL grind?
It was tilting on my part. I had T.Y. Hilton everywhere and missed the cash line by literally 1 point. It was just brutal.
Oh man. Anything for you, James?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any T.Y. Hilton because I didn't have a reason to go to that price range because I had Devin Funchess everywhere. So I didn't have a reason to also have T.Y. Hilton, but I did have Julio Jones. So T.Y. Hilton not getting tackled on that 80-yard touchdown and Julio Jones blocking his 80-yard touchdown was like $1,000 split for me. It was so bad, man. So that sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, there was some definite tiltage going on as always. So let's get at it this week. Thursday night special in the NFC West, Seattle at Arizona. Seattle continues to look strong week in and week out until, Josh Doxson makes a big play for Bucks Redskins. Arizona 6-point home favorite or home dogs. Totals around 41.5, 42 points. Bucks, why don't you kick us off on this matchup?
Yeah, if I played FanDuel, I would be drafting Blair Walsh this week just out of thankfulness. He was garbage last week. It was awesome as a Skins fan. So, but in this contest, I really, really like Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin. I think Russell Wilson's a phenomenal athlete. Arizona is obviously a little more stingy to the quarterback, but he has his legs to fall back on, so I like him making some moves there. I really like Doug Baldwin this week. A lot of people are going to think that Peterson's going to shadow him, but Baldwin typically plays in the slot, so he'll be on Honey Badger and get his opportunities. So I like Baldwin this week. AP, I am probably going to avoid at that price range just because there are other guys in the slate similar to his price range that I like more. And I don't believe that you obviously can count on the usage that he got last week, which was just ridiculous. I do like Jimmy Graham this week. I'm not sure. Actually, I know I'm not paying up for him. There's some other options on the slate that I like. But I really, really like the Seahawks D this week, especially after last week's debacle. I think they come out angry and have at it.
What about you, James?
Yeah, so I like Russell Wilson's fine, but we all know that he's not quite as good on the road, and I'm not sure that 7,400 is really a spot that I feel like going. There's a lot of cheaper quarterbacks, but I can understand going to him. He's always, always, always so much better in the second half of the season, and we're in the second half of the season. So I don't have any problem with that. Drew Stanton is 4,800. I don't have any reason to go there. Like I just mentioned, there's a whole bunch of cheap quarterbacks, and at home against Seattle's defense just doesn't sound like a fun place for Drew Stanton to play. But Buck's already mentioned Adrian Peterson at 5,900. The volume is going to be there. Volume is what we want from running backs. And the only way – there's a couple plays in this game that kind of depend on line movement. and where sharps are putting the money. So if the sharps think that the Cardinals can keep up in this game, I like Adrian Peterson, and I like the Cardinals defense at 2,600. We know that Russ struggles on the road, and we know that Arizona is much better at home. So the line already is kind of weird. Like 6-point dogs against Seattle at home with Drew Stanton at quarterback, that already kind of seems fishy to me. And unless it drops down to like 7.5, 8, I think I like the Cardinals defense because sharp bettors would see something in this team staying close. And if this team stays close, Adrian Peterson can continue to get the volume that he got last year. So this game really matters line movement for me. If at close I'm able to get a decent line on it, then I like the Cardinals defense. So that's my thoughts on the Cardinals defense and Adrian Peterson. It all depends on line movement there. Wide receivers, let's go to the flow chart that we have against Arizona. Are we facing Arizona? Yes, go down. Who is the wide receiver 2 facing Arizona? Go down.
Yep.
Oh, it's Paul Richardson. So I'm all in on Paul Richardson this week. He's only 5,200. It's good price. He's a very good wide receiver. I understand Doug Baldwin at 6,400. He does line up a lot in the slot, but I respect Tyrann Mathieu almost as much as I respect Patrick Peterson. So I really, really like Paul Richardson this week. So long as he plays or so long as he practices. If he doesn't, then Tyler Lockett is only 300 less and is also a very good athlete. So that's pretty much all my thoughts on this game. I want to watch line movement for Adrian Peterson and the Cardinals defense. Otherwise, I really just love Tyler Lockett / Paul Richardson.
Yeah, the line movement comment, that's a good point there because if it's close, then yes, obviously AP is going to get the love. And you said it anyways, he's going to get touches regardless. They do not want Drew Stanton throwing the football. It's that simple. So as long as they can avoid that, they will. But I don't mind Russell. I don't mind Doug. He's still too cheap. I know he's facing Peterson and company, but 6,400 it's too cheap. He's way better than that. But Richardson and Lockett were the two that I was looking at. If you want to get off of Doug and make some kind of weird stack for a full week slate with Russ or something, you can go to Richardson or Lockett, whoever is starting in that number 2 spot. But other than that, like Buck said, Graham, I love him. I think he's great, but he's banged up, short week. I could go elsewhere. This is like one of those games where you could see it being interesting, but then also don't forget they went like overtime in a 6-3 game last year in Arizona. These teams that both had explosive offenses going into that game. So you never know what these teams are going to do. And short week games suck. So I'm not the hugest fan as I would be on this. And I wanted to mention something about Blair Walsh. Yeah, he can suck it because I picked him up as a bye week kicker in season long, and that was awesome. Awesome to lose my weekly game by like 3 points because he missed 3 field goals.
Oh, that's brutal.
But let's move on to Sunday. The New Orleans Saints go into Buffalo. This is quite an interesting game to me. You got Buffalo 2.5-point home dogs. Totals around 46.5, give or take. Tyrod at home has been a thing this year. You got McCoy and company, but then Breeze. James, kick us off in Buffalo.
I don't like this game for DFS purposes. Buffalo has been good at defense at home and relatively good at defense. Really quick, I need to go on this rant. The Buffalo Bills coaching staff is not good. They're not awful. They're not terrible, but they're not good. Okay, they have done great on defense. They have utilized things well on defense, but it's Sean frickin' McDermott. So of course he's going to utilize things well on defense. He knows defense. The problem is he has no clue how to utilize the offensive talent. Zero clue. He uses Shady like an idiot. He doesn't know how to use Tyrod Taylor. He doesn't know how to scheme plays. That defense is the only thing keeping them in games. And they should have been, I thought, at the beginning of the season, a 9-11 win team. And they're not going to reach that threshold. So they don't know how to utilize offensive talent. I'm tired of talking about it, but there it is. On the other side of the ball, defense has been great for both of these teams. Drew Brees has been throwing at record lows this year. Their defense has been fantastic. Buffalo's defense has been really good. The only play that you can say is LaShawn McCoy, especially since he won't be chalk after burning everybody last week on the main stage. So I like LaShawn McCoy at 8,300. I'm not sure that I'll go there because of other people in his vicinity. And Kelvin Benjamin at 5,100, I think should be utilized well in this offense. But knowing this coaching staff, they're going to make him run a freaking fly route every other play and try to utilize him as a deep ball receiver. And it won't work, and I'm going to have to rant about it on Twitter. But with all that said, the Bills' defense 400 is awesome. Awesome.
Yep.
They've been very, very good. They've paid off that price tag plenty of times this year. Their averages, let's see, go through their game log. They've had a 15-point game, 7, 8, 14, 8, 10, 9, and then recently a 0-point game against the Jets. They've been good. So I like the Buffalo Bills defense, and I like LaShawn McCoy's contrarian play.
Yeah, the Bills defense at 2,400 I think is great. 7 or more points in every game at home this year. And they didn't face slouches. Yeah, the Raiders there. Denver at that time was actually offensively talented at one point. The Jets as well. So not just complete pushovers, I would say. But I love Shady 83. Ownership could be very nice, but at the same time, he's going to get his. It's similar to the AP thing you already mentioned. Touches are going to be there for McCoy. So I do not hate that at $8,300. And then Kelvin at 51. It's like you said, if they have half a brain as a coaching staff, they're going to want to feed their new toy. And Tyrod wants to play with his new toy. So at 5,100, that could be a complete steal. On the Saints side of the things, you got Ingram at 74 and Kamara at 69. Both in play for me. I'm going more towards Kamara, to tell you the truth, because I think they might have to utilize the passing, catching ability of Kamara more than Ingram, even though Ingram does get his. But if you look at the last few weeks, the touches have kind of gone down, especially in the last week. Only had one target in the passing game. When you have Kamara, who's just consistently getting the looks in the passing game, 7-3, 7-3, so 3 or more at least, but a couple sevens in there, double-digit points, $1,600. If you want to go that route, I do not hate Kamara at all. But you nailed it. I have no problem with like a Shady and Buffalo D stack that angle. I think it's very much in play. Should be a tight game as Vegas thinks. So that's where I'm looking. Bucks, where are you looking at in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for the way I could potentially see this game going, then I'm not going to pay up for Drew Brees. I'm not going to pay up for Tyrod Taylor at 6,300 with Shady there. I don't think that the New Orleans run D is as good as they're letting on. I think Shady's a solid play at 8,300, but to be honest, it's going to be super, super, super hard for me to play him this week because of the number one running back price-wise on this slate. So yeah. I'm not going to be playing any of him this week. And I think this might be the first week all year that I don't have a piece of him, I think. As far as Ingram and Kamara go, I'm still going to stand by the whole running back by committee thing. I mean, yes, they both had great games. Kamara had a great game last week. But I worry that another lost fumble is him riding the pine for a while. So he's a really good football player, but there's such a mix there with that committee that I'm going to have to avoid it. As far as wide receiver go, there's only one guy on this entire slate that I am actually looking at, and that's Deontay Thompson. He had a breakout game last week. We've talked about him for a few weeks on this podcast, but he's only $3,600, and Tyrod and him have a really good connection. So I do like Deontay Thompson as kind of one of those punt plays this week, because if I know you two, you're going to have a few punt plays this week because of one of the core stacks. So Deontay Thompson is a great punt play option this week. And then tight end, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm glad James mentioned the Bills because they are one of my favorite defenses this week.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Just one more thing on Kamara. He's had 12.7 or more points since week 3 in every game. So it's I know the committee's scary, but that's just why there's something about this kid. They keep feeding him the ball for a reason.
Well, he's good.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're giving it to him. So, and he doesn't need touchdowns where you look at Ingram where he needs to find the end zone to have that big game for you.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to an NFC North battle: Green Bay at Chicago. Chicago. This, like, if you would have said this preseason, Chicago would be a 5-point home favorite to Green Bay with a total of 38. You'd call everyone a liar. So this is something else. We'll go back to you on this one, Bucks. Kick us off in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally, I guess, 3 potential plays, 2 plays for sure. Jordan Howard, that is my guy this week. The weather in this game is supposed to be god awful, like 39 and raining. And he's already getting a cake matchup. So give me Howard all day long. If that Bears defense, who's my other play this game, that Bears defense can make some noise and be playing from ahead most of the game, which I think they can be, then Howard's going to get 25 plus touches easy. And so I love Howard this week. The only receiver I think is interesting, and not this game, but I think like long term, is Inman. I'm glad that he goes to the Bears. He's automatically like their best receiver, and I guess that doesn't say much, but I think from a long-term option, he could be good. But it's Trubisky, so. But really, Jordan Howard and the Bears are the 2 plays this game that I really, really like.
Yeah, I'm in love with Jordan Howard this week at $6,100. I think that's an absolute steal for the upside you get with him. Like you said, Bucks, they're going to feed him the rock over and over again. Cohen is pretty much out of the game plan. He doesn't really exist anymore. So it's Howard's game, and the Bears defense is outstanding at $3,000. That seems way too cheap for the matchup here. It's almost like they think Rodgers is still on the other side of the ball. So I think that's a great correlation play. I am not going to do it, but this would be the first time ever. I've heard the Mitchell Trubisky name for like 4 weeks in a row now. This is the first week where it's got like 25% validity to it. So I just want to bring that up. Like for $4,500, I get it because the Packers defense is horrendous, but you almost have to play them naked, and I don't want to do that. So I'm not going there, but I at least want to bring up his name. Other than that, I want nothing to do with this game besides Howard and the defense. James, what do you like in this one?
You guys pretty much nailed it. I mean, Jordan Howard is really the only realistic play in this one, and at 6,100, he's definitely in play. I will just say this. If you took Trubisky and stacked him at 4,500 with Trey McBride and Dontrell Inman,
you could have the world.
You're spending nothing. I mean, you're spending $10K on 3 positions. You could afford Lev Bell, LaShawn McCoy, and another high-end wide receiver with a decent tight end. I mean,
they might run 35 offensive plays with Jordan Howard getting 27 of them.
I'm not saying it's a good idea to stack them. I'm saying you could do it. Like it's not a good idea, but I might do one just because. You can have whatever you want on top of that. If some act of God allows Mitch Trubisky to throw, he threw it 32 times last game.
Exactly. That's where I got intrigued by it.
Like, if he throws it 32 times and they allow a 65% completion rating, I don't know, man. I think
I guess
for 10K, if you were to hit the nuts, if you were to guess right on the 2 wide receivers, they get touchdowns, and then, you could do it. I'm probably going to do it now, and I hate myself.
Honestly, that stack there, to me, is less crazy than the Deshaun Watson one, the one, the Millie Maker. Just based on the defenses, you're at home, all those factors, this seems better to me than the Deshaun Watson stack.
You guys are out of mind.
I'm probably going to do it.
Like I said, I don't condone it, but James picked up where I left off, saying this is the first week where it makes sense.
All right. Well, that sounds like we have a golf bet.
I'm not – you guys bet because I'm not doing this one. But Mitchell might have his Mitchell game. That's all I'm thinking. I just hope Jordan Howard goes for like 200, then Mitch can do whatever he wants after that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go Cleveland at Detroit. Detroit, 12-point home favorites. Is this going to be a bloodbath, James, and what do you like here?
It should be a bloodbath, but I mean, this is 2017 NFL, so I don't trust any double-digit favorites at this point, man. And like I've kind of been saying for a couple weeks, Cleveland is almost there. They are this close to being legit. Like, their front seven is good. They haven't had a rusher over 66 yards since like week 2. Their front seven is really, really good. Their secondary sucks, but Detroit's offensive line isn't really good. So yes, Matt Stafford is an absolutely incredible play. Yes, Marvin Jones is an absolutely incredible play. Golden Tate, fantastic play. Like, I love the passing attack for the Lions. They're playing at home. They're huge favorites. They have a nice total. But there's another side of me, like the analytical side of me, that says that that Cleveland is really, really close to being a legit defense. Not a legit offense, but a legit defense, and that worries me about the spread. So this game might be a defensive barn burner. There's like a 15% chance that it's a barn burner. So I get it. I obviously love the Detroit passing game. That's pretty much all that I really have to say about this. Stafford is a great play. I think that if you're going to pair him with wide receivers, then you need to make a couple different lineups to try to capture the one that gets the most work. But Stafford's a great play. No Browns are in play, obviously, but they're close, man. The Browns are close to being a decent team.
Yep. What are you thinking on this one, Bucks?
This is tough, man. I mean, I really like Stafford. He is on fire right now. And I think you have a couple options, obviously, to stack them with. One of these games, Golden Tate's just going to go bananas. Like, he's going to. And this could be that game. But, again, I'm not sure I trust that spread. But let's just say they do get up quick. You could potentially look at Abdullah at $4,500 if you think that he's going to get 15 second half carries potentially. One guy that I was looking at just because, is Corey Coleman going to be back this week?
I couldn't tell if it was this week or next week. I know they brought him back. I'm just not 100% sure if he's in or not.
Yeah, I mean, they really need some help there with the receivers, obviously. But until he's back, I'm always going to like David Njoku at that price. Detroit's not good against the tight end. They have no wide receivers really to throw it to. Ricardo Lewis, Sammy Coates, whatever, they're terrible. So he's going to see, I don't know, 8 targets probably. I mean, he's averaging 6 over the last 3 games. So I really like Stafford, obviously. And the only Browns player that I am likely going to be playing is Njoku, just because he's $2,600. So.
Yeah, this is one of those where I hope it stays somewhat close, but in like a shootout, which I know I'm asking like for a miracle. But I love Stafford at $6,800. It's even if it like he's been doing it against pretty decent defenses and pretty garbage defenses. It doesn't really matter right now. He's playing really, really well this year. And you looked at him on Monday night against Green Bay, 25.44 DraftKings points, 20 or more in 3 straight games. He's getting it done, and I love him at $6,800. And then you got Tate and Jones, both very good plays. Jones has actually outplayed Tate, like you said, Bucks. He's due for just a big blowout. Mm-hmm. But in reality, if you look at it, if you can pull off the pricing, which is not easy at 3 guys close to 7, well, 2 at $6,800 and 1 at $62, but you have Tate who has 15 or more in 3 straight games, and you have Jones who has been just a monster, but he has basically 22 or more in 3 straight games. So they're both going off in the same games. So it's not like he's picking one or the other. So I don't mind those 3 if you can pull it off. if you don't want to, but you want like a 3-man stack with one of them and Stafford, I don't hate paying $2,500 for Darren Fells. I know he's been bad the last 2 weeks, but he's still going to his tight ends and he's not going to Ebron at all. And the Browns are one of the worst in all of football against the tight end. So Fells at 2,500 could be a like Higbee type guy. Just give me one touchdown catch and we're good. Like, don't even worry about the rest of the day. Just find me in the red zone and we move on. So that could be a nice low-priced piece of the pie there. I love them. If you're playing anything on Cleveland, and I know I get laughed at a lot, not just by you guys, but by a lot of guys, I still love Duke Johnson. I absolutely love him. I know he's banged up his last game. If this game does require Kaiser to throw the ball, he's going to dump it off to Duke a ton. And at $4,100, that's a lot of value there with Duke Johnson. So I don't mind him at all at $4,100 in this matchup. Let's go on. This is a game I know pretty much all of us love. Pittsburgh at Indianapolis. Indianapolis 10-point home dogs. Totals around 44 right now. Bucks, kick us off with your big plays.
Yeah, I mean, every single possible Steeler imaginable. I mean, Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, AB, Smith-Schuster, I mean, all of them. And as well, I mean, the Steelers D. Steelers D haven't scored a touchdown since week 1, and I think that changes. But I think this is just a blowout. But I think this is kind of like one of those Roethlisberger get right games. Like, he hasn't had like just a monster game all season. The potential for this game could be like 45 plus points. I think the defense scores 1. Then there's still plenty of room there for Ben to go off, AB to go off, Le'Veon Bell to go off, Smith-Schuster to go off. I mean, this game is awesome. And so I'm going to have 2 of my 3 lineups this week be a Steeler stack and trying to catch the right punt plays. And then I'm going to have 1 basically Lev Bell lineup with some other QB wide receiver stack.
What do you think of this one, James?
I love Le'Veon Bell. I love Le'Veon Bell a lot. He's 9,800, and I love Le'Veon Bell, and I'm not going to fade him. The other Steelers, and hear me out on this, Ben Roethlisberger is not as good on the road, right? Antonio Brown is completely tied to Ben Roethlisberger's production. We also have not only Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster left, but also Martavis Bryant coming back in a prove-it game after he was demoted to the practice squad. So, I don't know, man. I get it. Like, the Colts are awful. Colts are absolutely awful on defense. But if you are looking off of historical values, the play here is Le'Veon Bell, plain and simple, because he gets more work on the road. They ride him on the road because they know that Ben Roethlisberger is not good at calling audibles. He's not really a smart quarterback. He just has a big arm. So I want Le'Veon Bell and Martavis Bryant at 3,900. And I think that everybody goes Antonio Brown. Like, Antonio Brown is going to be the most owned player on this. Well, Le'Veon Bell will be the most owned player on the slate, and then it's going to be Antonio Brown. Like, Steelers going to be running rampant. But I kind of feel like people aren't going to go Martavis Bryant because they think that he sucks. But he's gotten so many deep targets, and I think he gets another couple this game. And at 3,900, I would rather take him and Le'Veon Bell, who I like. I would put my mortgage on Le'Veon Bell to get 30-plus touches in this game.
Yep.
So I like Le'Veon Bell and Martavis Bryant the most here. I'm not going to hate on anybody for full stacking the Steelers at all. I'm not going to hate on you guys, but my thoughts on it are Le'Veon Bell and Martavis Bryant being the best plays in this game. The Colts, I actually really do like Marlon Mack.
Yep.
Because the price keeps going down. For some reason, like, he was $4K last week, and now he's only 3,800 at home against the Steelers, who aren't exactly a good run defense. And Frank Gore cannot receive out of the backfield. And that's why Marlon Mack has been getting so much more work, because he has to be in there when they're behind so they can try to catch up. So I really like Marlon Mack at 3,800. He's not getting like gross volume, but at 30, I mean, he doesn't really need to. Like last game, he had 9 attempts for 29 yards, and he usually has a couple receptions. He had 3 receptions against Cincinnati, 4 receptions against Jacksonville for 36 and 40 yards. So I like Marlon Mack at 3,800, and that's probably the only other play in this game that I like.
Yeah, I echo pretty much everything both of you said on Pittsburgh. I agree with everything Buck said. I get it. But I also agree with what you're saying about just play Lev Bell and go elsewhere. I like Juju Smith-Schuster, but I have always loved Juju, and now he's at the 5,200. But I still think he's a great play. If, maybe they send help over to AB's side, it opens it up for Bryant or Schuster. I like them both. But if you're only going to play one, play Bell and walk away. But I don't hate it. I actually read somewhere, I can't remember the exact numbers now. We know Ben is bad on the road, but his records inside domes are better than his home numbers. So,
okay, yeah, I get it.
It's a weird correlation. I get it. It's weird. But I love the Marlon Mack call. $3,800. People are going to be so turned off by what he did last week. And the part that makes no sense, and this could go like maybe, they're drinking the Bills Kool-Aid up there in Indianapolis, but a stat from the past few weeks, in weeks 7 and 8, Marlon Mack outsnapped Gore 71-58. But this past week, Gore played 40 of the 66 snaps, while Mack only played 27. So I don't know what the heck they were doing in that game. Hopefully it goes back to the way it was before, because he's a great play in this matchup, in my opinion, at $3,800. Other than that, if you want to go Brissett or T.Y. or Doyle, you can. I just think they're priced too high for this matchup. But I get it if you want to be super – I'd rather go that route than Mitchell Trubisky's route. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, Le'Veon Bell, move on if you don't want to hold your nose in you anymore. Los Angeles Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars, 4-point home favorites. Totals around 41. This is wild. I'll kick this one off. It's short and sweet. You got Fournette at $8,400. As long as he shows up for team pictures, he'll be in the game. So that's a good starting point. He's well rested, and he's facing a Chargers defense that is one of the worst in all of football against the running game. Not like Fournette needed any help, but great spot at 8,400. I'm pretty sure that's one of the guys you were talking about when you said guys around Shady McCoy's price range. Also, you have Jacksonville's D's at 3,900. They're always in play if you feel like paying for defense. On the flip side, you have, if you want to fade the Jacksonville defense, which is very ballsy, you got Phil Rivers at $4,900, which is insanely cheap for a guy that'll wing it, even if he has 4 interceptions. So you have that going for you. You have a guy like Keenan Allen, who I said Doug Baldwin was too cheap. Keenan Allen is $5,400. That is criminal. I know he's going to be facing the top defense. We saw what happened to A.J. Green. So if you don't want to do it, that's fine. But $5,400 for Keenan Allen is nuts, because Phil, like I said, will throw it into coverage all day long. But the play in this one is Melvin Gordon at $7,200. I don't hate that at all. I think that's a nice little discount on a guy that's going to get pass work and running touches in that one. And then the Chargers defense at $2,700 stands out quite a bit to me for a below $3,000 defense. I don't mind that at all, because if they can somehow slow Fournette down, either it'll be a long, low-scoring game, or you make Bortles throw the ball. That's always a plus thing on your defensive side. So I don't hate their defense at 27. So Gordon at 72, their D at 27, and then Fournette and Jacksonville. It's kind of a trend we've had a lot with Jacksonville games lately. Just give us the running backs and the defense. So, James, what are your thoughts on this one?
Keenan Allen only 5,400, man. Like,
it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That is not what it should be ever. I mean, his market share has kind of been going down. He only had 5 targets in the last game, 7 targets against Denver, 9 targets against Oakland, and 12 targets against Giants. So, I mean, Philip Rivers, the problem with taking Keenan Allen here is that Philip Rivers is really, really smart, and he'll avoid when a wide receiver is covered well. That being said, Keenan Allen is very, very good at not being covered. So I I wouldn't think that Keenan Allen gets more than 7 targets. I wouldn't think that he catches more than 5 balls, probably. But, I mean, 5 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown at 5,400 is like, man, that's so criminal. And the upside is incredible there, too, especially with them coming off of a bye week. Nobody is interested. 5,400 is really interesting on Keenan Allen. All that being said, it is Jacksonville defense, and I don't like taking wide receivers on the road, period, especially against the best defense in the league right now. So 5,400 is a really, really good tournament play. You already mentioned Melvin Gordon at 7,200. That is a fantastic play. He's been insanely good on the road this year, averaging like 24 fantasy points or something like that, and has a touchdown in every single game on the road this year, which is insanity. But it's just because he's getting so much work. And then Leonard Fournette is the best play in this game by a lot. 8,400. He just got disciplined last week. He's completely healthy. No more ankle issues. No more injury report this week. And 8,400. People are going to go Lev Bell at 9,800. And then probably not go Leonard Fournette. So Leonard Fournette probably like less than 15% owned at home against one of the worst running defenses in the league. Yeah, I'm on board for that. In fact, I just made a lineup where you can fit LaShawn McCoy, Lev Bell, and Leonard Fournette all together. That will probably be my main tournament team. So that's my thoughts on that. Keenan Allen, way, way, way too cheap, and Leonard Fournette, the best play in the game. Melvin Gordon's fantastic play as well.
Nice. What are your thoughts on this one, Bucks?
I think that obviously the running backs are going to be looked at hard in this game because Fournette's a beast. Gordon is a beast. They're both in really good spots here. And I think Fournette is super low owned because everybody's going Lev Bell, which is intriguing. What I think is interesting to me is the fact that you can get Bortles, Marquise Lee, and Allen Hurns for like 13,000 total. Like, it's crazy. And the Chargers are not great. And so I really like that potential stack there just because it lets you go and get Lev Bell and Fournette and some others, that kind of thing. So I think one of my stacks might be Bortles, Lee, and Hurns just as a contrarian play because everybody's going to be all over Fournette. And I don't think there's any way you can not have Fournette go off. I'm just hoping one of them's a passing touchdown. The one thing I'll mention about Keenan Allen is 5,400, like you said, James, is just insane. But he is likely, much like Baldwin, I don't think he's going to be on Ramsey. I think he's going to be on kind of their slot corner, which is, I think, Colvin maybe. And so I think that he has a decent opportunity here to get a ton of targets and a ton of play because he's not going to be on their shutdown corners all game. So 5,400 is super, 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 super cheap, in my opinion, and a game stack of the Chargers and Jags will be so low owned that I may have that as one of my lineups this week.
Nice. Let's go to the Jets at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 2.5-point home dogs, totals around 41.5. Jets are very live in this one, in my opinion. James, what do you have on this game?
Yeah, so Josh McCown has continued to be good. Tampa Bay continued to be bad. I mean, Tampa Bay has, at this point, almost completely fallen apart. No James, Mike Evans suspended. They're going to be led by $4,900 Ryan Fitzpatrick. I really like Josh McCown at 6,100. I don't know how anybody wouldn't. Tampa Bay has been getting torn apart all year. Josh McCown has been doing very, very well, and nobody ever takes him. Like, everybody hates Josh McCown. Still don't lie. He's been good. He's been good for like 4 years. He was good on the Browns, for God's sakes. So hating on him is kind of silly. On the other side of the ball, I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick is also in play. I know the Jets defense has been good, but Ryan Fitzpatrick at home, I mean, if you believe in a revenge narrative against the Jets who cut him, like that's in play as well. I think that Josh McCown and Ryan Fitzpatrick are both in play. This game actually has the potential to shoot out. I would like the over on this. Without Mike Evans, how do you fade Deshaun Jackson at 4,900? Like, how do you not just, like, auto-snap that lock button? He's going to get – and especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick just YOLO-balling him all game. Like, that is such a good play at 4,900. He's grossly mispriced there, and we need to take advantage of that. In my opinion, that's one of the best plays on the board. I've seen some love for Adam Humphries. I don't know. Adam Humphries isn't a good wide receiver. He's not a good receiver, though. Like,
No.
He might get like 6 or 7 targets at 2 yards per piece and not get a touchdown in the end zone because I don't know. I think that's kind of a trap play. That'll be my bust of the week if we get towards the end and like people are on him. I don't think that's a good play. I'd rather just go all in on Deshaun Jackson. At running back, Doug Martin is only 4,700. That's cheap. Matt Forte is questionable, and Bilal Powell is only 4K. That's cheap. I love Bilal Powell or McGuire if Matt Forte does not play this game, which there's a chance that he might. He might, and he might not. So this game actually has a lot of fancy goodness. I like the over on it. I like both quarterbacks. I like the running backs involved, and I love Deshaun Jackson. And also ASJ, obviously, because it's frickin' Austin Seferian-Jenkins. So that's all I got.
Yeah, when I wasn't saying anything bad about Humphries. I was saying go cheaper. Bucks, what's your thought on this one?
Honestly, everything that James mentioned. I really liked Forte coming into this week, and I'm bummed out that he's kind of hurting with his knee swelling up. So I might go Bilal Powell if Forte can't go. But really everything that James mentioned, I'm all over. I do happen to like the Jets D this week, though. So I'm not sure I can go all in on Fitzpatrick and Deshaun. I think Deshaun gets his, but I also think that we've seen Fitzpatrick make some really bad mistakes in the past. And I could see the Jets taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Jets this week. McCown, I think, is a phenomenal play at $6,100. Robbie Anderson at $5,200. I believe it's over 6 targets in each of the last 3 weeks. Even Curse at 42 is very, very much in play if you want a cheap option there. I agree, Bucks. The Jets D is intriguing because even if the Bucks score a little, Fitzpatrick's throwing 2 or 3 picks. Like, that's coming. Pick 6 could be in the works. There's a lot to like with the Jets defense. I don't mind that at all. At the same time, if you don't want to play the defense, I understand playing Fitzpatrick because, like James, you said it best, it is YOLO ball with Fitzpatrick. He does not care. And all the other players, yes. The one you didn't mention that I like is Godwin at 3K. This was one of their draft picks that they're very, very high on, and this is his chance to be the wide receiver 2 in this offense without Evans playing, and this could be a big game for him against the Jets defense that struggles against that wide receiver 2 position. So Godwin at $3,000 could be a very, very nice saver for people trying to play Lev Bell and company in that game. But the Jets, McCown, Robbie Anderson, and then some ASJ, Robbie Anderson and Curse. I love a 3-man stack right there. I love it a ton. Cincinnati at Tennessee. Tennessee 5-point home favorites. Totals around 41. Bucks, kick us off.
Yeah, I actually really like this game. I like it for Mariota 5,800, super cheap, and he plays really well second half of the season. And I think he should kind of normalize over the next couple weeks because he's been really good the last couple of years, and obviously he hasn't been this year. So I think that changes, especially with getting Corey Davis back. That dude is awesome. And I think that he is going to be a legit stud at some point in time. So I like Mariota. I like Andy Dalton this week. $5,300 for a guy that, well, put it this way: AJ Green is 7,700, and I can foresee him having just a ridiculous week, especially after last week. One, I don't understand how in the hell he is not suspended this game, but whatever. I'm going to play him all in on AJ Green this week. And if I'm all in on AJ Green this week, I am definitely in on Andy Dalton at $5,300. I think that's insane value. Corey Davis, I like this week at 4,000. I think that's also value. He's a big target for Mariota, and I think him being wide receiver 1 or 2, it doesn't matter. I think that he has a serious increase in targets this game. And then on the tight end position, I really like Croft this game too. I mean, the price point is not great, but I think that AJ Green and him, I think AJ Green, Croft, and Dalton stack could be really nice this week.
Yeah, it could be very, very nice. James, what are you thinking on this one?
Andy Dalton he only threw 18 passes last week. That's freaking stupid. They didn't run any plays last week. My problem with this,
37 plays.
Yeah,
that's like historically bad.
Yeah, they can't keep the ball. They can't sustain a drive. And then their defense, which is not actually awful, but just gets exhausted every week because Andy Dalton can't keep a freaking drive alive.
Exactly.
Like, this team is very, very bad right now. Marvin Lewis needs to be fired last week after AJ Green
3 years ago
right on the field. But he wasn't somehow, so I don't know. Marvin Lewis still has a job. AJ Green's not suspended. I don't know. It's all weird. But I don't know. Cheap way to stack up an awful defense. Trust anything on this Bengals team right now. But in tournaments, yeah, AJ Green's fantastic at 7,700. We know that he can go off in the right spots. Tennessee is a great spot for him to get right and really come back with a vengeance after getting basically shown up on live TV by Jalen Ramsey. So
yep.
I really like AJ Green. I agree with that. On the other side of the ball, I actually think that the Cincinnati defense is much better than what we have seen. Mm-hmm. And Mariota has not been good this year. The Titans themselves have not been good this year. The game plan hasn't been working. Trying to rotate running backs has been weird, and they can't get into a rhythm. So this game kind of screams under for me. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of scoring involved, but I do think that AJ Green gets absolutely fed. And Rashard Matthews, if he can just be healthy for an entire week, and if he can just play a game with a healthy Mariota, he's a good wide receiver, and he's always too cheap because he can never string together good performances. So 4,700 for Rashard Matthews is nice. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know really what to think about this game. I don't see a lot good here besides AJ Green.
Yeah, AJ Green is the play in this game. There's no doubt about it. But if you don't want to pay up, Dalton's fine. I don't mind Joe Mixon even at $4,900. They're slowly getting him much more acclimated to this team and actually utilizing a talent that he is, which took only, 7 weeks with this team. But, basically 10 or more points in 4 straight games. You're getting him at 4,900. I don't hate that at all. I agree, Bucks. I think it was James that said it. Cincinnati's defense is very much in play, so I don't hate that at all. And the whole receiving core, Matthews, Davis, and Decker for Tennessee, all extremely cheap if you want some salary relief from the receiving department, because you can throw on Cincinnati, at least you can so far this year. So they're all very, very much alive in this matchup if you need to go that direction. Otherwise, there's probably better games to target on the slate, so I won't go on anymore on this one. Minnesota at Washington. Washington 1.5-point home dogs, totals around 42.5. Bucks, take us away with your boys.
Yeah, I think I think Washington has a good chance to win this game, obviously, and I'm not just saying that as a homer, but I do think that their game plays well into playing against the Minnesota defense. So I think Kirk Cousins has a good game, largely in part because I think he is going to dump it off to Chris Thompson quite a bit. So I do like Chris Thompson this week. $5,700 is more in line with where I would expect him to be. And he would be like a nice pivot play off of like Jordan Matt or Jesus Christ, off of Jordan Howard, who's going to be chalky as all chalk this week. So I like Chris Thompson a lot this week. From the receiver position, I don't like the Minnesota side of it. The one thing that I'll say is Diggs is coming kind of back home. So if you like Narrative Street, that's a potential there. But I think the Washington secondary and the defense in general has been phenomenal lately. So I don't give too much room for either Diggs or Thielen to just go off, especially at that price point. $700 to me is just bananas, especially when you consider Keenan Allen at 5,700 or whatever the hell he is. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I can't go to really any of these receivers right now. The one guy that I might consider would be Jamison Crowder, just because I think this defense sets up well for him to get targets. But the only play on the Redskins side that I really, really like is Chris Thompson this week. And then I'm going to keep doing it, but Kyle Rudolph at $4,600 is one of my favorite plays of the week, because if they're going to attack the Redskins, it's going to have to be with the tight end position.
I like it. James, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, my thoughts on this are that if we like Diggs, if we like Keenan Allen at 5,400 and we like Doug Baldwin at 6,400,
Yeah.
I like Stephon Diggs a lot at 6,500 because I personally think that Stephon Diggs is a better wide receiver than either one of those guys. Like, I think he's a better route runner. I think that he's faster. I think that he's smarter. Doug Baldwin is very, very good. If there's like a top 5 route runners in the NFL, Antonio Brown is number 1. Doug Baldwin is number 2. Stephon Diggs is number 3. And then Keenan Allen is like number 5. So I really, really like Stephon Diggs. I actually don't mind the prices for Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs much. If you look at last year with the Denver Broncos, the Denver Broncos were the only team in the NFL to support 2,000-yard wide receivers last year, and neither Emmanuel Sanders or Demaryius Thomas really got up there in price, but they still kept producing week in and week out because they were the only people on that offense that were really getting work. And we can kind of see the same thing here with Thielen and Diggs. Thielen's been fantastic at 6,700. Stephon Diggs is a very, very good wide receiver when he's healthy at 6,500. So I like both of them quite a bit. I really wouldn't mind a full Minnesota stack going like Keenum, Thielen, and Diggs and just capturing all that upside if you think that the game is going to be close. On the Washington side, I'm fine with Kirk Cousins, I suppose. He plays much better at home. Minnesota hasn't quite been like a shutdown defense, but I still do respect the Minnesota defense more than I respect most defenses. So I don't know. I don't think that he has a significant amount of upside in this matchup. I think that his ceiling is something like 25 fantasy points with like 275 and 2 touchdowns or something like that. I don't think that his upside is that significant. So I like the Minnesota side better, actually. I like Stephon Diggs a lot at 6,500 because I think that he's significant. He's just always undervalued by the DFS community.
I don't know, man. It's hard because you look at like Diggs' stat line in every one of his games. He's got 2 good games all year.
Yeah, but he's really good at football.
2 shitty football teams. Like, if you look at the top 2 defenses he's played, Pittsburgh and Chicago, he's gotten less than 5 fantasy points in each game.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but he's so good at football. Like he is when he is
I
good, he is really really good. So
you look at his games: 5.6 points, 1 point, 40 points, and 30 points.
yeah, I see them. I see them. But remember that Chicago game, he only played like 6 snaps because he got injured.
Well, so
he got 4 targets. He got 4 targets on 1 drive.
This isn't the same matchup as last week with T.Y. Hilton, but it's like the exact same, like game by game, like shitty, 40 points, shitty, 30 points, like super high upside.
On Diggs, and he has 40-point upside.
He's a massive GPP receiver, basically.
Yeah,
and he's back home in Maryland.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you have the receivers. I'm not saying it won't work, but all I want in this game is Chris Thompson at 5,700 and Jerick McKinnon at $6,600. I think there's a lot of dumping off in this game. He'll get his, 13, 14, 15 carries, which he's been getting every game since Cook went out. And he's been getting like 5 or more targets in every game. So the workload will be there for McKinnon. I have no problem with him at 6,600. I think his ownership will be extremely low. So give me McKinnon, give me Thompson. I'll let you guys play with the receivers, and I'll look elsewhere. But those are two running backs, like you said, Bucks with Thompson, and I agree with that, and McKinnon. That'll both go pretty low owned compared to the rest of the field. So I'll go that direction. Houston at the Rams. Rams, 12-point home favorites. The Los Angeles Rams. Total is 46 in this matchup. Honestly, I know the price tag is high for Goff at 67, so I get it if you don't want to use him, but no one else is going to use him. Not the worst matchup in the world. And, you got Watkins at 48. I love Robert Woods at 5,000, but he's going to start becoming really chalky with the continual success that he has. Both of those guys are nice, cheap receivers, and Higbee at 28. As long as he's that cheap, I can't ignore him. I've been on Gurley every week. I think I'll pass on Gurley this week. That's the one thing Houston does pretty well on defense is stop the run. I know it's, there's no JJ, but there's been no JJ for a couple weeks now. So they still do a decent job at that, but like a Goff-Woods combo doesn't turn me off. On the Houston side of things, I like Lamar Miller at 5,200. I think they're going to keep giving him the rock because they don't have any choices. Tom Savage is the quarterback. The Rams will stack the box for that. So if you don't want to go that route, I get it. But in GPP, Lamar Miller continues to produce week in and week out. And there is big upside at $5,200. It's a lower priced running back compared to the rest of the slate. And I forgot to mention, but the Rams defense, of course, at 36 is very, very much in play in this one. So, Bucks, where are you looking at in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, Goff I can't do at 6,700, but I obviously like the position he's in. My personal opinion about the running backs, one, I love Lamar Miller this week. Last week, what in the hell happened?
Yeah, no shit. That was like the perfect spot.
10 carries.
Yeah. You know what happened? The NFL happened.
I mean, it's just crazy. But I love Lamar Miller again this week. I think he's in another good spot. And I think they have to understand they have to give him the rock to have a shot. As far as Gurley goes, at 8,700, I'm not sure I can do that this week. But the Rams are going to move the ball. And Gurley's the only guy there that's getting touches. And so you figure they're going to be in the red zone. They're going to be inside the 5 a few times. I could easily see him getting a couple touchdowns. Even if he gets shut down and only has 50 yards rushing, he's going to catch 4 balls for 30 yards. And I could definitely see him having a multi-touchdown game just because of goal line carries. I mean, I still think he has a 25-point upside, 30-point upside potentially. And when you look at $8,700, that's a really contrarian play, low-owned play this week because you have Fournette, Le'Veon Bell, and money spots. So I might pivot to Gurley just because of ownership reasons. As far as the receivers go, I mean, Woods is still really cheap at $5K. Sammy Watkins is cheap at $4,800. But there's so many options there in the passing game that they can go to. I'm not thrilled with any of them. So the only other play that I like this week is the Rams D. They're really good, and if they can stop Miller, then they're gonna blow it out of the water again.
If they stop Miller. The only reason why, and I agree Gurley could have a big game, I just don't want to be dependent on a guy that needs to get like 2 goal line touchdowns when I know it's chalkier, but you have Elliott, you have Fournette, you have McCoy, Melvin Gordon, like all these guys there that you know is going to get much better looks. And I named 6 guys, so they're not all going to be chalk.
Yep.
Any thoughts on that, James? Any thoughts on the game, James?
Just Gurley. That's all. Just Gurley, and I like the Rams' defense. I do think they can cover 12. I think this is I think they win by like 17.
It's going to be a beatdown, big-time beat. All right, Dallas at Atlanta. We got our highest total on the slate. Atlanta 3-point home favorites. Totals around 51. James, kick us off in Atlanta.
Why is this game in total of 51? Atlanta hasn't been able to put up more than like 28 points this year. I don't think total should be 51. Atlanta's mostly a neutered offense. Dallas's defense has been really good with Sean Lee on the field. Besides that one stupid play at halftime last week with frickin' Tyree. That was wild. As an NFL fan, that was the worst. Not only did it drop my money, but man, did it piss me off to see it, because that is little league bullshit. And excuse my language, but come on, man. Like, you can't let that happen. That was gross.
That's the kind of bullshit that Tyreek Hill and that offense rely on.
That sucked, dude. That was so bad. That wasn't even cool to watch. It was like, oh man, it's an incredible play. No. That was awful. That was
terrible football, terrible defense.
Not good football. Do not put that on my television.
And just remember that Dallas game last week was a total of 53, and it only had 45 points plus that touchdown.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. And Atlanta's another offense that's not that good. Okay, rant over. Dak Prescott 7,300 against Atlanta. He can pay it off. He's maybe, I don't know. He's not super. He relies on running touchdowns. Basically like a poor man's Cam Newton, even though he's a rich man's Cam Newton now because he's more expensive than Cam Newton. But I don't know. I don't think I really have much interest in 7,300. Matt Ryan is 6,500. Like we just mentioned with Dallas, their defense has been pretty good when Sean Lee is healthy. So 6,500, not really my thing. Ezekiel Elliott at 8,800 is a fantastic play as long as he's not in jail by then. If he is in jail, then Alfred Morris at 5,500 is a smash play just because of how much they're going to feed him. Julio Jones got a price increase for dropping that touchdown in the end zone last week. He's now $8K, but he did get fed, and that is very, very important for his fantasy outlook. If he's going to get fed, then $8K isn't bad. That's a pretty nice discount if he's going to rack up 185 receiving yards. But he is, again, on the injury list, so I don't know if I want to go there with so many other high-priced running backs that I know are healthy and are going to get more touches than he is. Des Bryant is also questionable, 6,900. I don't really have interest there. I've been off Des Bryant all year. He doesn't separate well from coverage. The only thing that he can do is catch a touchdown in the end zone. So 6,900 isn't going to do it for me. Mohamed Sanu at 5,100 is probably my favorite play in this game, just because he's been getting plenty of targets, and he does get targets in the red zone. So 5,100 is not bad for Mohamed Sanu. I don't want any tight ends. It's just kind of a carousel over there in Atlanta, and then Jason Witten is 150 years old. And then the defenses, the Cowboys are only 2,200, and the Falcons are only 2,400. At 2,200 for the Cowboys in a game that I think goes under, I don't hate it. That's not awful. You can get pretty decent value for that.
Yeah, that might be your low guy this week. Bucks, what are your thoughts on this one?
I can't play Prescott at 7,300. I think he's a decent play, but you got Dez kind of banged up, and I just don't like him this week. Matt Ryan, same thing. I can't play him just because he's been bad. And he's $6,500. You got better options under 6K, honestly, to Matt Ryan. Ezekiel Elliott, he is always going to be a good play, unless the defense is just like stout. I think he's a solid play, but at $8,800, I like other options around there. And I think Ezekiel Elliott is Ezekiel Elliott, and he will be chalky because he's Ezekiel Elliott. The interesting play to me when I was looking at this game earlier, depending on injury news over the next couple of days, is Devontae Freeman. He is 6K, and he has been – I mean, if you just look at his stats, he's been pretty much garbage over the last 4 or 5 games. But he's also played some really stout defenses over the last few games. I mean, he's had 2 cake defense games all year, and he went for 24 and 25 points. So I think he gets back into the end zone this game. I think if the Falcons can keep it close, he should get 20 carries this game. And if he gets 20 carries, he's going to have a touchdown. So I like Devontae Freeman if he's healthy this week, because I think he'll be a lower owned option because he's been garbage. And I like that ownership there. From a tight end perspective, don't like anybody in this game. And then from a defense perspective, I could see the Cowboys just for pure ownership and upside, because Matt Ryan can chuck it downfield, make some shitty mistakes. But the last guy I mentioned, I saved him for last, is Julio Jones. I'm not sure I can play him anymore. Like, he's either injured or makes some ridiculous play like last week where he drops it and he doesn't hit value. So he is very, very close to on my cannot roster list, especially right now with the way that coaching staff is and Matt Ryan, the way he's throwing the ball.
Yep, I agree with that completely. I don't have a problem with Dak at 73 for the fact that a lot of people have the same sentiments you guys have, that no one's going to own him at all. Dez is banged up, yes. I don't mind Terrence Williams. I know he had a big game last week, so he'll be chalkier, but he was in my best lineup last week as a cheap option. He's still $4,400. And if you want to go away from that, you get Cole Beasley at 4,000. He's healthy. They're utilizing him in the slot a ton, and Atlanta's defense is just horrible. So the ball's going to get thrown around just fine. But I love Zeke at $8,800. No question in that in my mind. And their defense at 22, sneaky good. 5, 19, 15, 5. They had a bad game against the Rams, and then 7, 2, and 12. That's their season, and they're $2,200. So basically 5 or more points in all but 2 games this year, which I know you want more than 5, but at least 5 at $2,200 isn't horrible. You can live with that. So it's not a horrible play at $2,200. On the Atlanta side of things, the only guy I'm playing, and I'm playing him a lot, will be Mohamed Sanu. I have been playing him like every single week, and his price tag is not moving at all. He's $5,100. Everyone still flocks to cover Julio, and Julio he'll have a big game here or there, but he's not Julio. I don't care what people want to think. But Sanu's just been a monster. He's getting his targets. He's doing his thing. I have no problem with him at all. I'll keep going Sanu's way at $5,100. Really now we go to the Bay Area, to the Saquon Barkley Bowl. I'll never forget going on New Year's Day a few years back to Houston at the Niners for the Reggie Bush Bowl. Hungover, and it was even worse than you could imagine. So Giants at the Niners. Niners are 1-point home dogs. Totals 42. 2 horrific defenses and offenses that I'm going to laugh when this game's like 31-30. But it's that bad. Bucks, kick us off in the Bay Area.
James, did you want to mention something real quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to, like, a little game theory thing here. If Julio Jones is going to be less than 10% owned, I think you have to play him.
I don't know if he will be, though.
That's the thing. I mean, I know that the total is high, but if he doesn't get touted and people are going to pay for Lev Bell and Antonio Brown and A.J. Green in a revenge game after getting his teeth kicked in, like, at 8K, if you can get Julio Jones at, like, less than 10% owned, it's going to be a hard fade because he has so much upside. And it's the same thing as last week, but people didn't want to play him. He was 12% owned in the Millie Maker. people didn't want to play him, and he was literally inches away from having a 40-point fantasy game. Literally inches away. So it's really hard for me to full fade somebody like that if he's going to be the least owned stud on the slate.
Oh, he'll definitely be lower owned than Antonio and AJ. I just think that, I mean, with Evans being out and Hopkins with the matchup he has, Thomas being mediocre at best right so far, I still think he is 15 or so percent. But, well, what do you think Antonio's ownership is going to be? 50%?
Oh, my God, 40 at least.
Yeah, 40-something percent. AJ's going to be 30. So what does that leave you?
Can I ask a question real quick? So how are all of these receivers going to be so high priced with all those running backs we love?
Right, that's the thing. And that I'm taking that into account too. Like if Le'Veon Bell is going to be 40% owned, and Antonio Brown is going to be 35% owned, and AJ Green is going to be like 25 to 30% owned, Leonard Fournette is going to take ownership. Like, there's not going to be room for Julio Jones.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts. Like,
so you could go Julio and Gurley at sub 20% ownership for both.
I mean, you could even put Julio in there just as a contrarian option with Lev Bell and or Antonio Brown. Like I just think that if he's going to be less than 10% owned, if you think he's going to be that low owned, I think you have to go there in GPPs because he has as much upside as anybody.
Yeah, when he catches everything, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And those numbers all just make me love the Detroit Lions even more.
Yeah.
They're actually in a spot to go crazy. But we had this argument last week, and we'll have it again probably every week with Julio Jones. So just the way it's going to go.
No tilting. All right.
Yeah. I just won't touch him. I can't touch him anymore. But Bucks, take us to the Bay Area.
Yeah. I can't play Eli. I can't. I think his price is right, but I can't do it. Like, he's just bad. Like, I honestly looked at the pricing, and I think the 49ers D is kind of in play at 2,600. Like, is that crazy? Like, is that ridiculous to me? Like, the only guy – there's two guys in this whole game that I really like, and that's Darkwa. If for some reason the Giants keep it close, I think Darkwa should be just straight up beast mode and get 20 carries if they were smart. And then the other guy that I really like this game is Aldrick Robinson because he's going to be on Eli Apple, and Eli Apple sucks. And so I like Robinson coming back against a team that he's super familiar with. And he's $3,600. I mean, you go Aldrick at 36 and you go Darkwa at 45, and you have room to go and pay up a lot of other places. The one other interesting guy this week, because Kittle is out, is Grant Selleck. I think he's the guy that they go to this week. And the Giants have, 7 straight games where they've given up a tight end touchdown?
Yep.
I mean, it's just insane. So he's kind of like a auto play at $2,500 because if he has a Higbee, 1 catch for 8 yards and a touchdown, he's hit value. So this is what I'm talking about because you have a bunch of people going to stack the Steelers. You have a ton of people that are going to stack part of the Steelers with AJ Green, Julio Jones, Leonard Fournette, all of those guys in smash spots that you're going to have to find the right pump plays to make your week. And I think you could do a whole lot worse than Selleck at $2,500. I think that spot's great for him. And then, like I said, I think that with Eli being Eli, that the 49ers are potentially in play to have a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, it's pretty wild that Selleck is the second highest tight end on fan share.
Is he really?
behind Cameron Brate.
God, that just pisses me off, man.
Yeah, it's like I was pulling it up right now. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
All right, then I'm pivoting to Njoku at 2,600, 100%.
You want to hear the running backs for you? Kamara, Bell, and Gurley are your top 3 running backs.
Gurley?
Yeah, Darkwaz tied for 4th.
Fuckers. Okay.
Okay, sorry. James, what are your thoughts on this one?
I want you guys to go really quick and pull up CJ Beathard's game log and see how many times he threw it last game.
It's beat hard.
He doesn't throw it.
Get it right. It's beat hard.
Whatever.
He doesn't. He's thrown it a ton. He throws it all over the place, and he can run.
He threw it 51 times last game.
He had almost 19 points.
That means Aldrick Robinson is going to catch 15 balls against Eli Apple.
Dude, 51 attempts for a 4,800 quarterback at home against a defense that doesn't even care anymore.
Hey,
Thank you, James.
Have you checked? Does Beathard have an arm left?
I don't care
Oh, yeah.
if he has. If he does, he's going to throw the rest of it off against the Giants.
It's a great spot. His two home games, he's got 16 or more points.
Look, 4,800 for Beat Hard or whatever the hell his name is. I don't even care. Beat Hard. I don't know, man.
So good.
4,800. Threw it 51 times last week.
He hasn't had less than 36 pass attempts.
If he throws it 36 times against the Giants, he's going to break 30 fantasy points.
God damn it, James.
No, I love this play. I'm so proud of you, James. You're making me like tear up right now.
4,800. Okay, so CJ.
This is your Mitchell Trubisky play, not Mitchell. You want this guy.
I just pivoted. I will show you my screen after. I just pivoted to that in my huge lineup. Like CJ being 4,800 and matching him with Aldrick Robinson at 36.
You can play him naked. Play him naked.
I thought about it.
Play him with Robinson.
I had that, and then Buck said Aldrick Robinson was one of his favorite plays, and I just swapped straight from Martavis Bryant to Aldrick Robinson, and now I have correlation.
He said favorite play in this game.
Dude, it's incredible.
He's on Eli Apple.
It's incredible. CJ Beathard, I hope that he isn't heavily touted. I know for a fact that Big T is on him this week. I'm all about it. Like, let's do this. At 4,800, you can fit CJ Beathard, Aldrick Robinson, and then you can get Fournette, Bell, and LaShawn McCoy, and not force it.
God damn.
You don't even have to force it. It's beautiful, dude. Like this, I'm entering this in the Wildcat. Like, I don't care what anybody says. This is beautiful.
Ooh, we're in the Wildcat together. I love it.
Yeah. This game is fun because both these teams suck so bad.
Who cares the least, basically.
What's the over-under on this game?
It's only 42.
Oh, go way
over.
Over.
Come on, dude. This game is
That's what I'm saying. Shootout. I said 31-30 final. Here we go.
This game is so fun. I really like a San Francisco stack with Beathard. I think that you can even go CJ with Hyde and Aldrick Robinson because Hyde is second on the team in targets.
I love Hyde. I don't care. He's good chalk.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really contrarian way to go about stacking this game, and you can still get everything else that you want. So that's great. I love this game. Period.
Yep. I'm so glad you said Beathard. It's Beathard, but Beathard is actually pretty good. I'm a big fan of that.
It's Beathard.
Beathard. Yeah, Beathard is the slogan of this show right now. I love him at $4,800. Like, literally, I'm glad you said look at his game log because I look at it every time like, no, it's the Niners. It can't happen.
God bless.
But 36 or more passes. He runs the ball. At least 3 attempts in his last 3 games, besides last week.
So many pass attempts with Carlos Hyde.
Because he dumps it off to him. Just dumps it off. Look, watch. Check this one out. Carlos Hyde. I have him right here. His game log. Load you.
8 targets, 9 targets, 11 targets.
Wild. It is freaking wild. And he would have had more if he didn't get tossed last week.
$300.
It's so worth it. That is good chalk. You can put Beathard, Hyde, and even Howard at 61 or Thompson at 57 or McKinnon at 66 and get all the receivers you want.
God bless America.
But honestly, if you like Aldrick Robinson at 36, I don't mind it. I get it. I love Marquise Goodwin at $3,800. I'll go that direction. He's got 8 targets in 2 of the last 3 games. Both of his home games, 8 targets. I'll take him.
Have both of them.
I'm not going that crazy. Like literally, but
all I'm saying,
Beatard naked is what I. Okay, this is gonna. Let me rephrase that. I like the idea of putting my lineup with Beatard naked.
You like Beathard?
That's why I had to stop my sentence before I kept going.
So
but
Goodwin's going to be on Janoris Jenkins, but the only thing Goodwin's good for is catching a 40, 50-yard bomb.
And you're only playing Beatard in a GPP anyways.
Do it. Do it.
I'm telling you.
All right.
This just got fun.
Full-on Beathard stack. Every lineup.
And if you want to get real Beatarded, Eli isn't a horrible play. He really isn't. The Niners defense is horrific.
I will not.
Like,
I will
really
not
bad.
do that.
Well, I'll play Beatard over Eli all day, but I'm just saying he's that bad.
Let's move on. We've
Yeah.
had enough. Let's move on.
We just
Okay.
80% of the podcast on the Giants Niners.
On the Saquon Bowl. Let's go to Sunday Night Football. Patriots at the Broncos. Broncos 7.5 point home dogs. Totals around 47. It looks like right now. Bucks take us away in Denver.
I don't honestly want any of it. I mean, Gronk. I mean, funnel the Gronk. And if I'm going beat hard, full slate, I could get there. But honestly, outside of Gronk, and obviously Brady is Brady, so you can play him at any point in time. It's really the only guy that I like on this game. And then I like the Patriots. With as bad as Denver looked last game, I think the Patriots are a decent play at $3,400. But that's all I got.
All right, James, what are your thoughts?
I think Tom Brady at 6,700 is way underpriced. Wentz just shredded this poor Denver defense, which, by the way, first off, I'm sorry, Bucks. You don't owe me any more rounds of golf. Second off, they still made that because they got a defensive touchdown.
I mean, yeah, they still hit. They had 40-something points scored on. They still had 6 or 7 points.
Yep, they still got 7 points. So, the defense, the DFS play called off, but you don't owe me any golf bets for covering me on that money.
Our slate's clean going into this week.
Our slate's clean. That stung. But yeah, I mean, Tom Brady 6,700 is fine. Other than that, I don't want anything else. Gronkowski at 7K is fine as well, but I'd rather just go Tom Brady naked.
Yeah, Brady, Gronk's, if you really want to. I don't mind White at $4,200. Honestly, he keeps getting his passes. That's not going to stop this week at $4,200. Other than that, you could look at Demaryius Thomas at $6,100, but there's better guys in that range. But Brock loves him. Throughout all of their time together, he feeds Thomas regardless of the matchup. So no one's going to own him at $6,100. So that's a contrarian angle if you want to go there. Let's go to Monday Night Football. For some reason, my Dolphins are on their 3rd straight primetime game. This is why the NFL is a joke. Like, seriously. No one needs to see this 3 times in a row. Dolphins at the Carolina Panthers. Carolina 9-point home favorites. Totals 39.5. The Dolphins are going to be destroyed. James, what are your thoughts here?
I love Cam Newton. 6,400.
Yep.
That's a really, really good play. Miami's still awful on defense. Devin Funchess is still only 5,800. Carlos Samuel is still only 3,500. Even Christian McCaffrey didn't get a huge price bump. He's only 6,800. So I love the Carolina offense. I want no part of the Miami defense or of the Miami offense. None of it.
Yeah, I love, Cam, McCaffrey, Funchess, Samuel, even Dixon at 3K, all in play. Landry's the only guy I recommend him every week because he's going to get his catches regardless for PPR formats. You go Landry. Other than that, yeah, this sucks. I wish Carolina was on the main slate. But Bucks, what are your thoughts here?
I don't want any part of this game. I can see the Cam Newton play, but I just think there's way better games out there. And honestly, I just see this being a sloppy game. I don't like it at all.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's get into a few core plays, Bus, and then we'll go into some questions like last week. Bucks, give me a couple core plays for you.
I mean, Le'Veon Bell, 100%. Aldrick Robinson as a punt play is going to be part of my core. And then AJ Green.
All right, James, what about you?
Yeah, I'm not going to say Lev Bell because I'm pretty sure that's all of us. We all love Lev. I'm going to say Leonard Fournette. Love him. He's going to be part of my core. Deshaun Jackson at 4,900 is going to be part of my core. And my core defense is going to be the Bills defense at 2,400. Favorite cheap one today.
I like that.
I love that Bills defense. That's phenomenal. Yeah, quarterback, I'm going either Stafford, McCown, or Beatard. Hyde and Howard at running back, and then my Lions receivers and Sanu. That's where I'm looking for some core action. Bucks, give us a bust play for the week.
Oh, man. Is Kansas City playing this week?
No, they have the week off, so you can't go that route this time.
They've been a bust every week. I think if just from looking at pricing perspective and knowing how good Ezekiel Elliott is, I got to say Dak Prescott would be a bust for me. From a receiver perspective, I think that Dez Bryant, even at 6,900, is going to be a bust. And then Evan Ingram at 6,200 is crazy pricing, and I think he is a bust as well.
Yeah, the Niners actually do well against the Titans, surprisingly. James, thoughts on your bust?
Yeah, I mean, my main bust is going to be Russell Wilson. I think that game is going to be closer than what people are assuming. So, I mean, I know he's been thrown a lot, but if that game is going to be close, then I don't think that it's going to have a whole bunch of fireworks. At running back, my bust is going to be Alvin Kamara. I actually think that it goes back to Ingram this week. Alvin Kamara was very, very good, and he has been very, very good. So I think that at this point he needs to score 20 points at 6,900. I don't think that he gets there. I do think that his floor is good, though. I think that he has the floor of double-digit points. So I don't hate him in cash, but I think in GPPs he doesn't get there. And then at wide receiver, I mentioned earlier, Adam Humphries. I've seen plenty of talk about him this week already. He's very, very cheap. Doesn't have to do much, but I just don't think that he's a good play. He's not going to be a top 10 wide receiver this week. He's just not very good at football. And that's probably all I got.
I'll be going with Gurley at the running back position. And I'm going to go out there, and I know it's $9,500, but Antonio Brown will not make value. I'm going there right now. Not happening. But those are the two I'm looking at in the high-priced areas of the teams. Let's go into some of our questions this week. I'll kick us off in the quarterbacks for you guys to answer. Matt Stafford at $6,800 or Ben Roethlisberger at $6,600. Start with you, Bucks.
I think this is close for me, but when you look at close results, you have to look at ownership as well, and I think that Ben is going to be chalky, so I would go Stafford.
What about you, James?
I'm in agreement. I think it's Stafford over Ben this week. Stafford playing at home against the Browns or Ben on the road. I like Stafford more than I like Ben.
Yep.
Yes, sir. We're all on the same page there. Bucks top quarterback below $6,000.
I really like Dalton this week, and I really like Beathard now.
Yeah, that's when I made this question. Beathard wasn't on the agenda. James.
I still think that Trubisky is an interesting option, but I mean, after we talked about Beathard, like he's fantastic at 4,800. And then I do really, really like Case Keenum.
Okay.
All right. Here's another one, and I think I know your answer to this one, Bucks, but Andy Dalton at 53 or Eli at 51?
Dalton. Eli's garbage.
James?
I actually Eli on this one. I think that team has given up on Marvin Lewis. I don't think that they...
There it is.
Okay, new goal bet. Sure. Eli Manning outscores Andy Dalton straight up.
All right.
I like it. And a listener question we had come in: can Dak Prescott reach value at $7,300 Bucks?
Can he? Yes, but I think if Ezekiel Elliott plays, he will not.
What about you, James?
Yeah, I don't think he makes it. At 7,300, he's just overpriced, and I've already said that he's going to go on the under. I don't think it's a very good game, so no.
All right, James, give us the running backs.
All right, so I'm going to go with the listener question that came in first, and it was, does Adrian Peterson get the same volume that he did last week? Bubba, what do you think?
Yes, I think he gets the volume. Does he reach the same results? No.
Okay, Bucks.
Hold on, did I read something wrong last week? I mean, didn't he get 30 carries or
Yeah.
37 carries?
Yeah,
No.
I got it. Yeah.
Then absolutely not. No. I mean, I think he gets 20 plus, but I think I already had 37 carries, which is ridiculous.
Okay, well, I'm talking he's getting 30 plus. Isn't that what we were talking? You want 37 on the number? Then no, he's not. But
Yeah.
You got 37. You got 26 2 weeks before that. He's going to get a ton of touches.
Yeah,
I don't think he hits 30 carries or 25 carries for that matter.
Up here,
I'd say 25.
30. I think he's 30 plus. So
he's getting touches.
One of my questions for you guys: Fournette or McCoy? Bucks.
Oof. That's tough, man. Man, that's really tough for me. I think that I would honestly go McCoy this game for ownership reasons and because I think that they're going to be the game flow is going to be way more reliant on McCoy than Fournette.
Yeah. Give me Shady because if anything, the difference maker for me is Shady's more involved in the passing game also.
I am on the other side of you guys, and I'm going to lean Fournette just because I do know that Tyrod can do things and Bortles really can't. So I just trust Fournette's workload more. I know that they want to give him the ball. I don't know how they want to treat LaShawn McCoy, but the chances are better that I'll have both of them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite running back between 5,700 and 7,200?
For me personally, God, that's tough. I would have to say Howard, but if you look at ownership, I would probably pivot and go Gordon.
Okay.
It's a really tough. That whole zone's awesome. I'm gonna go Howard as well, but Gordon, Hyde, they're all very much alive for me. But it almost makes you want to go Gordon more because if people get that high running back, they're gonna go down to Howard.
I love Thompson though, 5,700 FYI.
Well, him and McKinnon. I think McKinnon might be one of the lowest owned guys. I know people don't like him, but I think he's in a great spot in that game.
I lean Gordon. I think I also like Christian McCaffrey a lot at 6,800 if you're playing the main slate, just because he was very, very involved last week. I think he continues to be involved, and I like that offense moving forward. But it's Melvin Gordon for me. I'd rather pay up.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Bucks.
I've got one defense question for you guys.
Okay.
Who is your favorite at 2,500 and below?
Buffalo.
Yes, definitely, 100%.
All in agreement. All in on Buffalo, 100%. Let's do it.
Okay.
Wait. Wide receiver, Bucks.
I'll go listener question first, and then I'll ask a follow-up. The listener question was, do you think Antonio Brown hits value this week?
Well, I obviously said no. He's my bust.
Oof.
No. No, I don't.
Right.
I'd rather.
So my follow-up question would be, what do you think his projected stat line is?
Ooh. I'd say 6 and 100, and that still doesn't meet value.
Yeah, I think 6 to 8 catches for 90 to 110 yards, but no touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, at his price, that's still not hitting value, so I dig it. I think that's fair, though, 7 for 100.
Yeah.
It's very fair. He's going to eat. It's just a matter of can he find the end zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he finds it like twice, you're going to be doing cartwheels.
Gotcha. Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
But he can is what I'm saying. He's a guy you know can.
Next question. AJ Green, Julio Jones.
Ooh, AJ.
That is hard for me.
I
I know. That's so hard for me because I've been going back and forth on that on this lineup that I've been building with the 3 high-priced running backs, and it's tough, man. Like I lean AJ Green based off of matchup, but if Julio Jones is going to be less than 10% owned, I want him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I dig it. Yeah, I would personally go Julio just for ownership percentage reasons. Next question. Best wide receiver option between 4 and 6K.
Sanu.
Deshaun Jackson.
I like Deshaun Jackson a bunch this week. I like Smith-Schuster, but you're right. You do have Martavius coming back. The one that I really like, though, is Keenan Allen.
Yeah, that's great at 54.
Yeah. And then the last question is best wide receiver option under 4K.
I'll let you go first, James.
It's either Algic Robinson or Kendall Wright. Kendall Wright did see 9 targets last week. So if I think that Trubisky can do okay this week, then I have to say him too. But I think we're all pretty much in agreement that it's Algic Robinson.
I'm going either Samuel if you're playing the full slate on Monday night, or I'm actually going Godwin with Tampa Bay at 3K.
Okay.
I personally like Aldrick Robinson, obviously, but I do like Allen Hurns this week as well. Cheap upside. So,
all right.
We'll do the tight ends real quick. Who's your top $2,900 and below tight end Bucks?
Njoku.
Deion
James. Nice. Okay, listener question. If you're playing the full slate, Austin Hooper at 3K or Ed Dixon at 3K Bucks?
Ed Dixon.
James?
Ed Dixon.
Last but not least, Jack Doyle or ASJ?
I would go ASJ for sure.
Oh, that's tough. Jack Doyle gets a lot of targets. I'm going to say Jack Doyle, man.
Yeah, that's tougher than it looks, but I see both angles there, definitely. All right, any final questions? We good? Covered all?
Yep.
I think we got it all, man.
Good. Again, send in more questions next week. We'll keep rolling with them and get them going. Big slate, 14 games, 11 games on Sunday. Check out Bucks on Twitter at BPSnow11, James at Paydirt_DFS. I am at BDentric. And this was your 2-point conversion NFL DFS pod week 10 edition. We're over halfway through the year. See you guys later.